Warnings: the topics discussed within this video can be triggering for some people. These include cyberstalking, racism, transphobia, SA, pro-shipping, grooming, and doxing. Hello, I'm Grotto Fairy, but you can call me Pear. I'm an artist with a relatively small platform, but I still think I can make a difference regarding this situation. Making this video after dealing with horrendous behaviour from this individual for over 3 years. I was 14 when this started, I am now far older, and I've seen him turn his anger onto those who are younger, and I cannot keep standing by and watch this happen. Before I continue with the video, I would like to thank the people who helped me research and work on the document that will be in the link in the description of this video, as well as a massive thanks to my friend Bree Draws, the goat by the way, for giving me tips of how to format this video and for making me this really adorable sprite that you're going to see in the corner of the screen that's going to be here the entire video. It's going to be looking at you. Now to the actual main topic of the video. Ivan, known as illumidrippy across social media, is a digital artist who's garnered popularity over the years on his multiple accounts. Keep this in mind, by the way. Multiple accounts. For his semi-realistic art style and the way he interprets different characters from popular media into his art. However, there is also a side that's a little bit dodgy, and that is why he's become well known within the art community. And this stems from his drama with the artist Seio, previously known as Peachy Possum at the time that this all had begun. Back in September of 2023, Ivan had drawn a piece of artwork that involved Tiana from Princess and the Frog. Now, he had drawn Tiana with a far smaller nose than she has in the movie, which obviously garnered some comments from people on TikTok who were critiquing the way he had drawn the nose, as evidently if you draw a very popular character without one of their most distinguishing features, you're going to get a bit of hate on that. And one of the people who commented was Seio, then known as Peach Possum, as I mentioned before. Well, Ivan didn't take this very well. In fact, he did not take it well at all. Ivan began to specifically leave hate comments towards Seio, mocking their art style, and getting their followers to send hate towards Seio. Now, Seio was a much smaller artist at the time, only having around 400 followers, while Ivan was closing in on around 10k, might be like 9.5k. It it differs. This shows a clear difference in platform and just how much Ivan had misused it. Now, as you can see in these screenshots, while yes, Seio shouldn't have left unsolicited critique, there was no need for Ivan to make things far worse. Now, keep this in mind for later, as during the argument, Ivan began to later claim that Seio had stated the gorilla nose comment. However, as you can see right there, it was Ivan that said it. The harassment coming from Ivan's end towards Seio got progressively worse, and I mean progressively worse. He accused Seio of being a predator and making sexual comments about Ivan without any proof at all. Once people began to catch up on the fact that these claims weren't exactly true, and that Ivan's proof was either warped or there was a screen recording that he had posted, and in the screen recording it kept jolting every time he scrolled up. Like he'd edited something like overlaid over the actual thing, and it was just bugging out. Now, Ivan did not like being called out at all, and proceeded to make over 100 posts about Seio and Seio's minions. One of these minions included Miwi, a fellow artist who has and had and still has, who has and had a decent following on TikTok. They made a video talking about how weird the drama was and how Ivan was harassing the mutual. Once again, Ivan was not pleased with this and began accusing Miui of being a racist because they're an Asian getting involved with a topic about black character. Now, for a period of time, as you'll see in the document, if you choose to go through it, there was a period of time where Ivan believed that Miui was black, based on the fact that they said maybe don't harass somebody else because you couldn't draw ethnic features correctly. Now, that's a whole other thing, and you'll see in the document he has a history of either erasing Asian identities or making odd comments about Asian people in general. Once again, this honestly does not make sense. The topic was Ivan harassing another content creator. It had nothing to do with race, apart from the fact that he hadn't drawn Tiana's nose correctly. Now, multiple commenters and mutuals began to defend Seio further. These include Ozo and Blue, both of whom had left comments pointing out the hypocrisies and like odd changes in story that Illumia had been like stating. Over Ovo Whoa. Ozo even conversed with Ivan privately to try and figure out what was going on, but Ivan kept backtracking and changing his story, which he does frequently. So, a group chat was made. This was made to try and deal with the situation privately instead of all over TikTok. However, as you'll see in both the doc and in this video, the group chat did not go well. Ivan kept breaking the agreements that were made to stop posting about each other and added people who were not properly involved with the drama and had little information and began picking fights with Seio and the others. As you can see, a lot of immature things were said in this group chat, including Ivan making a disgusting and absolutely vile comment about Blue's more not safe for YouTube areas, which is a gross thing to do anyway. But given the fact that Ivan was 16 at the time and Blue was an adult, that puts it into a more uncomfortable perspective. Ivan kept trying to twist Blue's discomfort into Blue implying that Ivan was sexually interested in him. But as you'll see, in every screenshot that exists from this time period, not a single person said that Ivan was sexually interested in adults or in Blue or Seio. Nowhere in the screenshots did Blue ever state that Illumi was sexually attracted to Blue. They simply displayed discomfort at the not safe for YouTube parts being discussed by an at the time 16-year-old. But Ivan's odd sexual comments become a pattern and have been displayed more and more, and the people who he surrounds himself with display these patterns too. The group chat didn't go very well after this, and clearly if things had been resolved, I would not be making this video. Now, how I got involved. In December 2023, I was 14 years old and had a relatively alright following of around 2k at the time. And I had become eventuals? Well, I'm so sorry that I am missaying things, and I'm going to leave it in the final video so you know that I'm new to this. I had become mutuals with Miwi and saw that Ivan was posting hate videos and making fun of Miwi's art, so I left a comment telling him to leave me alone and that his art isn't better and he really can't say anything, and that the artwork he'd done of Mariette Dupancheng had whitewashed her and got rid of any Asian features she'd have in his more realistic style. Because as you'll see with Ivan's artwork, it is relatively realistic in the majority of the pieces he's done. Except when he drew Marinette, he kept saying, oh, she's fully white, she's 75% white, because her dad is French and Italian, which makes him even whiter, which means she's only like 10% Asian. Her mother is a whole Chinese woman. Does that look like she's 10% Asian? I. Now, he got angry with my comment, and it was never that deep. And I mean, it was never that deep. And proceeded to go on about how problematic Miyu and their friends were, and told me to DM him on Instagram. So, I gave him my Instagram so I could get his side of the story, just so I could understand both sides. And we DM'd back and forth. Every time I asked him to prove his claims, he showed very. The screenshots either had nothing to do with what I had asked him about, or they were like different claims that he was making, or they were like edited and they were really janky and they just made no sense. And I'd point this out to him, and then he just started guilt tripping me. He started mentioning his mental illnesses, his disabilities, his like family situation, how he's a teen parent and is trying to like look after his child and is trying to support his family. Now, I may have been a dumb 14-year-old at the time, but I was not that dumb. And I am still not that dumb. I rebuked every excuse he was giving and kept pressing for proper proof and evidence. Because on one hand, I had Mio and Seio and the others giving me actual screenshots with timestamps, screen recordings, recordings of his voice messages, calls, and multiple testimonies from different people. But every time I tried to ask Ivan for an actual timestamp or proof that something had actually happened, he seemed to quake at even the thought of adding actual proof to his claims. Then I found out about his friend Egghead, who I will be referring to as Kaiser. Once again, a warning for this particular part. Kaiser has been accused of SA, has engaged in disgusting content of children, and actively, to this day, on his social media, reposts very disgusting artwork of children or actual people in NSFW situations, and he's an open pro shipper. And as of right now, he's currently shipping He-Man and Skeletor, who are uncle and nephew, canonically, in like every piece of media. So that's just the type of guy he is. Um, Here are his socials, so you can go block him and not have to look at any of that. While Ivan and I have been DMing about this and about other topics related to the situation, I had also been talking with Seio and Mew and the others, and I had begun to understand that Ivan wasn't just some random guy on the internet being dumb. He was a serial stalker and insane. And I found out more about Kaiser this way. Kaiser was a cosplayer who Illumi had been mutuals with. Kaiser was 20 as of 2023, and Ivan was 16. Now, they had known each other for a few years prior, so, it's a bit iffy. Kaiser had been on and off posting NSFW content regarding characters from My Hero Academia who were still children at the time while he was an adult. There's hundreds of adult characters and you just had to be attracted to the children. Like, come on. There's Aizawa, there's All Might. You have every adult man you could physically think of, and you choose the little boys. It just shows the type of guy he is. So I made a video on my old TikTok account, which is now banned due to Ivan and his friends spam reporting it, which has happened to several of my accounts. So lovely of them. Truly. Truly lovely. That video was calling out Ivan for his harassment towards Seio and Mio, including the racism, including the odd comments about blues not safe for YouTube areas, and Kaiser for posting NSFW content on his Instagram while having minors following him, including Ivan, and for being a grown man posting that content regarding children. Now, I obviously cannot put most of the stuff he was posting onto YouTube, as that would surely get me obliterated by the YouTube gods. But there is some content in the document, and the rest of it is still actively on his social media as we speak. So I have his socials linked in the doc. So if you wish to, like, see what I had to see, then you can see and block and report him and do whatever you need to do. He also left some really weird comments trying to defend himself and Ivan, and started pretending that he didn't know who Seio or Miui was, and it didn't make sense because Kaiser had seen the screenshots from both ends. Even Ivan's screenshot showed you in the group chat with Miui and Seio giving them shit. It wasn't like it was a secret. I knew. I knew a lot, actually. I knew more than you think I know. These are the comments he made under my video, calling both him and Ivan out. Neither of them reacted very well, and that is when Ivan's bloodthirst for me began. I posted more things in support of Seio and Miu and received allegations of racism. Because at one point, and I still don't get it to this day, during at one point of the drama, I made a really cringy drawing that was a redraw of this one scene from Jujutsu Kaisen where Sukuna is stood over that little, like, blue-haired guy. And now, this was immature of me, but to be fair, Ivan had been mocking my weight and had been making AI images of me as an overweight person. So I drew him as a skeleton and drew one of his rats as like on his shoulder, and I drew my OC above him. And my OC, who I'm currently drawing in the background, as you can see, is she's half Moroccan and half Persian. She's really cool. And he started calling me racist because of that, and also because I was calling him out on his behaviors, and he kept on using like his race as an excuse to try and get out of it, which never worked. Ivan, if I was like a certified racist, why would I be calling you out for drawing racist caricatures? I continued to like receive weird accusations from this guy, including when I was 14. during all of this, he started accusing me of being a grown man. And him and his friends started using he, him for me and started accusing me of being a predator. I also continued to receive DMs from Ivan on Instagram. Most of these consisted of threats or the odd trauma dump session to try and get me on his side again. I expressed multiple times that I was 14 and his weird trauma dumping was uncomfortable. And at one point in these DMs, he admitted to me that he had breastfed his nephew, which is the screenshot you can see in the thumbnail. Now, I am not disrespecting those who breastfeed their children, but this was an odd thing to admit to a random 14-year-old on the internet, especially since this was not his child. I repeat, he did not give birth to this kid. I called him weird for that, because who who does that to a kid that's not theirs? Especially because he later admitted to me that at the time this happened, he would have been 12 to 13 years old, which just makes me think what situation he must have been in family wise to get to that point where he had to do that to feed a kid. Even if it wasn't feeding, it's child endangerment on both ends. Because what were the adults doing in that situation where they let that happen? Because he said that, oh, we couldn't afford to get like all the stores are shut. We couldn't afford to get like baby formula, so I had to do it. Where was the baby's mother? Where was the baby's father, for that matter? Where were they? Why were you the one that like had to be left alone with a like newborn baby that you had to breastfeed? It just goes to show, like, I can understand why he is the way he is to some degree, based on his upbringing and based on what I've learned about his upbringing. But that was not a good thing to admit online. During these DMs, I had been responding to him, asking him to stop posting, and all he kept replying with was, I'm too busy sleeping with my girlfriend, and then I'm going to go to bed and sleep. Which, once again, a little bit TMI, don't we think? I don't need to know about you doing the devil's tango with your girlfriend when I'm 14 and you're turning 17, while I'm confronting you on being friends with a man who posts sexual content of children. Ivan had also just been feeling a little bit silly during this time and was posting insane caricatures of Seio's artwork, making the lips inflated and odd looking, which just feels racist, or at least colorist, given he's black. But come on, dude, you'd be throwing the racism like thing everywhere if someone had done that to your artwork. But it's alright for you to do it to others just because you don't like them as a person. Here's the screenshot for that. I still can't recover from it. Who draws this and thinks it's alright? Like, realistically. Um, there was also an instance where he'd posted a story where he'd compared Seio's art of Marinette from Reckless Ladybug to someone with Down syndrome and had also edited her to be yellow. Now, in the doc, obviously I can't fit every screenshot on the screen, but we have a segment for it in the document. But you'll see the original drawing that Seio had done of Marinette, and she's like a fair skin tone, kind of pinky, relatively normal looking. Well, not normal, but like relatively not yellow. And then in every picture that Ivan was posting, um, she was like bordering on like bright yellow, like sort of sickly yellow, like when your liver's failing. And he kept calling Seio a racist because of this, but as you can see, Seio was not drawing Marinette yellow. And here's a screenshot of the weird Down syndrome story he posted related to it. Um, I personally also had to deal with Ivan copying art pieces I was making. This is without even getting into like how most of his art is made using AI generated images or assets that he gets off Google that are AI generated. One of the examples of him copying my artwork was I have a character who's like a vampire, French vampire, la 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 la. I watched Castlevania Nocturne and I got really locked in. And I drew that character. It was a really rubbish drawing. I was like 15 by the time that this happened. And not even a week later, Ivan was drawing the same image. Except the background was AI and like parts of the piece like blended into each other in ways that it just shouldn't. So I don't know whether he fed my drawing into AI or just asked an AI to generate a similar prompt. Um, it was also during this time that I found him in the Mid-Journey Discord server, which he still denies to this day, despite there being screenshots and screen recordings of it, and I'll put them in the doc as well, actually. Yeah. And of course, I called him out on that and the AI usage because why are you going to post AI artwork and get offended when people call it out? As I mentioned earlier, he even made AI generated images of me and my dog who died of stomach cancer. He keeps mocking and making jokes about my dead dog, and that is just not right to do. Now, something he likes to use against me is that in one of the images that he keeps sharing around, I said I hope his rats die, and I hope his rats die of cancer the same way my dog did. Because in that screenshot that he doesn't like to show the full thing of, he had been saying that he's going to dig my dog up and he's going to do things to my dog. And obviously, my dog had only been dead for a few months at that point, so obviously I'd be upset. Here is some of the AI things he's posted. And now we're on to later on in the timeline. Yay! I've summarized a lot of the stuff in this video to make it easier for viewers to understand. Now, for a more detailed timeline, please view the doc and check out the videos I have linked in the doc. I have a lot of unlisted videos on this channel that I'm putting specifically through the doc so that he can't just keep reporting them and get them taken down. And a lot of the stuff in the doc has massive like paragraphs or even have statements from the different people he's harassed over the years, as well as screenshots, screen recordings, the videos, statements, just everything of like old voice memos that he sent to people and posts that said some heinous things. The doc will be getting continuously updated as well, even after this video comes out, because I don't want him to try and claim that we're using stuff out of context of him when that's what he's been doing to me and my friends for years now. I've done and I have and had done my best throughout these last 3 years to avoid any contact of Ivan. I've blocked him. I've reported him. I've blocked him on Instagram and restricted him on Instagram. He makes new accounts, or he gets his friends to start my accounts. On TikTok, he used to get Kaiser and his little like weird friend group to stalk my accounts. No matter how many times I block him, he makes new accounts, or he'll delete an account and then make a new one and then say, "Oh, this is my new main account," and then just start stalking me. And he constantly claims I'm stalking him, but I keep having to make new accounts because of this man. I keep having to make new accounts because he won't leave me alone. And every time I have to make a new account, obviously I'm having to view his profile to block him. And then he posts me viewing his profile to block him and calls me a stalker and every enemy under the sun. Now, occasionally, I do have to deal with him posting stories about me or making new accounts to try and rage bait me into reacting to his weird behaviour. But other than that, I've mostly tried to move on. Apart from when he made petitions to try and get me to kill myself. Like, how evil can you actually be to do that? He was an adult at this time as well. He would have been like, he's 19 now, so he was 18 because it was a year ago. Yeah, he was 18 when he was releasing petitions for me to take my life and to kill myself, and was asking other people to find where I live so they could jump me and kill me. What? Over a comment about miraculous ladybug, by the way. Over a miraculous ladybug comment. And I know I might sound angry. It's because I am angry. It's been 3 years. Now, everything had relatively died down until earlier this year when I had come across someone calling out Kaiser on Twitter for essaying them. This was Cal, also known as Mahagan. Mahagan? I don't know how to pronounce it. Mahagan. I'll just call him Cal for now. That's Kaiser's little brother. Cal is Kaiser's little brother, who is honestly one of the nicest people I've spoken to when it comes to this situation. He's been nothing but helpful with screenshots regarding Kaiser and Ivan and everything. And he managed to get Ivan to openly be even more horrendous than usual. During this time, it was like January, February, maybe even, I don't know. I ran an anonymous Twitter account called Lestat's Left Fang that was ran by me primarily, with help from Cal when it came to the tweets calling Kaiser out. And you'll see just how bad this gets. I called out Kaiser for his behaviors of grooming and the essay that he did to Cal when Cal was a child. I posted tweets on there tagging Kaiser's Twitter accounts directly so his followers and his mutuals would get, the posts on their feed. And Ivan saw them. I also called out Ivan for knowing about the essay and for still supporting him after all these years. And still supporting Kaiser even after the Shotcon posts had been posted everywhere and even the racism that Kaiser had admitted to. And when it had been revealed that Kaiser had been pretending to be half Asian and used an AI generated image of an Asian man and was pretending to be Asian because that was a very popular thing within the cosplay community for some reason. Kaiser blocks the account that I was using to call him out on and began raging on his Twitter about how he wasn't the problem but Cal was. And you want to know what Kaiser's proof was that Cal was a bad person? Kaiser tweeted a tweet and genuinely thought people would agree with him on this. That the reason why Cal could not be believed was because Cal was a narcissist because when he was 8 years old, he asked Kaiser, could we play Monster High dolls? I'm not even joking. I wish I was. I honestly wish I was. Because what do you mean? Your entire proof that you didn't rape a child was he's a narcissist because he asked me to play Monster High with him. You gotta be joking. Grown ass man, by the way. You gotta be joking. He also posted a tweet calling Cal the groomer. Now, somebody had tweeted, I don't know who it was some random account that Kaiser follows tweeted, a minor tried grooming me. And Kaiser quote tweeted it and said, yeah, they do that, don't they? Referring to Cal. Now, Kaiser has and always will deny these allegations. He's done so for years. I am not surprised. Despite the mountains of proof, he still keeps denying it. Ivan, on the other hand, has actually looked at the proof, spoke to Cal, and still criticizes every single point of the call out posts that were made, and even got mad at Cal for not going to the police to take legal action against Kaiser, and essentially said since Cal didn't go to the police and get legal action at the time, the assault was faked. Why would now Cal was 11 when the assault happened, around that age. There was abuse between the ages of 11 to between the ages of 8 to 12. And why would a kid make that up? And why would he be so traumatized by it if it didn't happen? Ivan, you claim to be there for victims, you claim to support the victims, but when a victim had come to you about your friend's assault on them, you got mad and made tweets upon tweets, hops and alt accounts to send hate to this kid. Well, not a kid, he's a grown man now. You sent hate to Cal on an undignified level. It was insane. And I have screenshots, they're all in the doc. And I will insert screenshots where I can here now. Screenshots. Screenshot. 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 And despite everything, Ivan did not care. He continued to berate Cal and make posts flaming me for helping Cal. And really got mad to the point where him and Kaiser tried to log into my TikTok. Which obviously I found ridiculous because they didn't seem to realize that when you try to log into someone's TikTok and it's a suspicious device, it gives the location of the device, which was Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And as we know, based on Ivan's public posts, he's from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And his posts online state that he's from there. He's said it on multiple stories. Which quite honestly kind of makes his DM to Ozo, that's in the doc, about how Seio will try and compare him to Jeffrey Dahmer to make more serious accusations against him quite ironic. That's an actual thing he said. In the doc, which you'll see, there's a screenshot when Ivan and Ozo were DMing, and he's like, I feel like Seio's gonna make an accusation against me. Like, he's gonna accuse me of being Jeffrey Dahmer or something. Like, using the wrong pronouns for Seio as well, by the way. That's crazy. So, on the Left Start account, I posted that, hey, friggin' Ivan, you've just doxed yourself a little bit trying to log into my account. That's a bit stupid. And he did not handle that well at all. He started a massive rant on his Twitter, and he privated his main account. He's had 4 Twitters up to now, which was illumidrippy, totally not Ivan, Ivanverse, and I don't know how to say the last one, but there's 4. And he deleted Ivanverse, which was the one where he was sending like threats and weird stuff to Calon and being like racist towards Native Americans for some reason. And then the illumidrippy one's been completely privated. It's still active and it's still there, but it's been private, so you can't see the tweets that were on there anymore. But most of them were either threats, racist, or telling Ozo that he hopes Ozo gets murdered for being trans. Yeah, no wonder he privated it. He even began to post random areas within the northwest of England, trying to dox me, because apparently my IP showed that I'm from the northwest, which is true, as you can tell from my dreadful accent. He did not seem to like the fact I'm British. He has never liked that. And when I said that was a bit silly, he did not appreciate it. And as you can tell, I'm putting on more of a Yorkshire accent. He didn't seem to realise that British IPs are just where the phone is first activated / the store it's bought from. So I could live in Scotland, right? And he would never know. I could live, like, if I bought my phone in London and I moved to Scotland, my IP would still show London. That's just how it works. Obviously, I was a bit spooked initially. Given I'm still a minor, it could have put me in danger. I only turned 17 this year and he's 19. Once again, I could be wrong about his age. He keeps changing it. Depending on who he's talking to, if it's somebody younger, he's suddenly a minor and oh, he's so scared because these people are after him. Or when he's talking to someone like really young, he's like, "Oh, I'm older than you. I have experienced a lot, so I know what's going on." But I did not let him frighten me, not too much at least. And I continued posting my artwork across my social media and ignored his existence as much as I could, which is all you can do when you have like some absolute lunatic in the United States just doing mental stuff to try and get you to like leave the internet or to like take your own life or whatever you wanted me to do. I still am not sure. I mean, actually, no, I am sure because he's made several petitions for me to die and so much. So much. So, Ivan did what he does best and he moved on to the next victim, Ozo. He began calling Ozo an inbred for being Hispanic and for Ozo's ethnic features, which Ivan, you're Hispanic yourself. At least you claim to be. Um, you've claimed to be a lot of different ethnicities and nationalities over the years, but you still stick to the Hispanic one. Why are you calling Hispanics inbred when you're Hispanic yourself? He even changed his current Twitter bio to inbreds do not interact, which I'll put here if I'm able to grab it. Insert screenshot on the screen right now. And you can see this just proves that Ivan is not a good person, like they portray themselves as in their social media. He has gone out of his way, even now, in the year of our Lord, 2026, in the big 26 before GTA 6, to try and ruin the mental health of people he does not like. In fact, I'm currently filming this segment on the 3rd of August, 2026. Yesterday, on the 2nd of August, he somehow managed to get Ozo's number through means that was definitely not legal. We still don't know how he got the number. And you know how we know it's him? Because it's from the same area code. It's from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And I reverse searched it, Ivan, and it's linked to your mother's violent registry thing. So we know it's you. And he's also recently been making fake Twitter accounts to try and get into Ozo's private Twitter so he can stalk Ozo even more. Hell, on my birthday this year, he made a petition for people to dig up my dead dog. Joke's on him, my dog's cremated. So that's not even possible. Here's a picture of my dog, by the way. He's so lovely. And he's so dead. And he kept making petitions to get Ozo banned off every platform. Now, no normal person with empathy does any of these things that I have listed so far in this video. No normal human being with any form of emotion does this. And over the years, he's done this type of psychotic behavior without any actual consequences. I've seen him use his platform to harm children and adults alike. Does not matter. I was one of those children at the time. And it wasn't just me who was hurt. Other young individuals were. You can see more of this in the document. I can't fit every screenshot or screen record in here, but I've done my best given the circumstances. Please block and report Ivan and anyone associated with him, not just to protect your own well-being, but to protect those who have been harmed by him and his friend group. And finally, I made this video with hopes it reaches the art community at large so they know about the hatred that's been going on for 3 years, almost 4. I don't want the rest of my channel to be anything related to this man again. But if need be, in the future, I will make a shorter video with an update. That's the end for now. I hope you have all listened to this video and will be wary around this user. If you know anything more about this, please don't hesitate leaving a comment with your experiences, and please share this and the doc with others. And once again, I am sorry if I've been voice cracking throughout this. I've been getting really stressed, and I haven't had a drink throughout the entirety of filming this, and I am angry. Now, if you'd like to see more from me, feel free to subscribe. As well, check out my other socials and my commission website if you'd like to support me financially. And once again, a massive thanks to Breedraws for making the silly pair that's on your screens right now, and for advising me with this video and helping me with like the editing and just the thumbnail and everything. Bree's great.